It's the opening day of the season on Sunday, the first of 88 meetings for the year ahead. Champions will return to defend their Group 1 prizes. In the shape of John Size and Zach Purton, we have champions returning to retain their crowns. New players enter the Hong Kong racing arena as well. We are back. A very warm welcome to our pre-season special. I'm Andrew Jeune. Delighted to say I'm joined here in the studio by Neil Callan with over 200 wins to his name here in Hong Kong and 7 times champion trainer in the region as well. John Moore, welcome, gentlemen. Neil, first, the break in the season maybe came at the wrong time for you, did it? Because a frustrating start to last year's campaign, but you finished off really strongly. Yeah,
it was frustrating, but look, you know, I suppose I'm old enough and tough enough now to be able to cope with certain things like this. My previous seasons in Hong Kong were quite strong all the way through, and this is probably the first time that it's kind of been a little bit stuttery at the start, but we had a strong finish, but at the same time I was kind of ready for my break as well.
Yeah, absolutely, looking forward to Sunday. And John, you were probably a little bit further down the table than you're used to being as well, but you still managed to produce a Horse of the Year, and that must have been satisfying to say the least, because I'm sure few outside of Beauty Generation's inner circle would have had him pegged for a title like that at the start of the season.
That's right, because we, I went to the owner and said I'll make a miler of him and take him out of the staying ranks, which we did, and we made him Horse of the Year. But with respect to the stable, every trainer has a poor season, and you have to regroup and restructure, which we've done. And everybody knows it's a rating system in Hong Kong, and horses can get overrated, and or up to their necks in the handicaps. And from that point of view, they struggle, and I'm afraid some of them went unsound. And as I said earlier on, we've restructured and we're looking for a great season.
All right, absolutely. It all kicks off on Sunday. Plenty to look forward to, of course, throughout the course of the show. We'll be looking at Chung Fa, the new training centre. Of course, we've got interviews with Zach Purton and the new boy Grant van Neerkerk. We're looking at horses to follow for the season ahead. And speaking of which, let's join Ed Sadler as he looks ahead to see what we've got in store.
A new season looms, and once again it is the battle for the Jockeys' Championship that takes centre stage. Magic Man Joe Moreira has swapped Hong Kong for Japan, and Zach Purton will be hoping to make the most of the Brazilian's disappearing act. Fresh on the back of disposing Moreira as champion jockey, there are new pressures for the Australian, including the management of his rides and the allegiances that he forms with trainers. He will also have to fight off a hungry, fresh pack of competitors looking to steal his crown. Taris Teeton and Chad Schofield enter on the back of impressive seasons. There are also new faces from South Africa and Europe. And who would discount 13-time champion Douglas White after his late season form? One man who appears to hold a key to the championship is trainer John Size. He has a vacancy after Moreira's departure, and so far it's unclear who will take over as his go-to jockey. Size again looks to be the man to beat in the trainers' battle. His stable is packed with stars, even without sprinter Mr. Stunning, who's been moved to a new yard.
Mr. Stunning and DB Pin. Mr. Stunning in front. He's got all the moves. Mr. Stunning, he wins the sprint from DB Pin and Blizzard third.
Of the other trainers, there's a new face with Jimmy Ting getting a chance to prove his worth, while Tony Cruz, the late season king of group races, will hope to challenge Size. John Moore will be aiming to prove last season was a blip, and interest grows in the career of Frankie Law after a remarkable debut campaign. Owners are flocking to him. Mr. Stunning and Riven are interesting transfers, while he also has Glorious Forever an expensive recent purchase Dark Dream as part of his arsenal. Queensland Derby winner Dark Dream is one of a number of high-profile new recruits to Hong Kong.
Dark Dream's in front, Heavenly Thought trying to come back, Dark Dream's in front, and Dark Dream won an epic derby by a head to Heavenly Thought.
Talented 4-year-old Furor and two-time Group 1 winner Edict of Nantes are two others that stand out. Of the tried and tested, Pakistan star will again be in the world's glare every time he runs. Werther, I Victory, Time Warp and Beauty Generation are some of the other big hitters aiming for further Group 1 glory. As for emerging talents, keep an eye out for the likes of Ping Hai Star, Rise High and Refined Treasure, who are all looking to ascend to the top.
Ping Hai Star tearing away with the derby. John Size produces a masterpiece with Ping Hai Star.
It all points to an enthralling season as we wait for those questions to be answered and new champions to be crowned on the track.
Oh, we see there Zach Purton on I Victory, who claimed a couple of crowns himself, most improved horse and champion sprinter last year. Neil, Joe is obviously a big talking point when he's here. He's still a talking point now. He's gone for the time being because we're looking to see who will fill that void. There's a lot of winners to be shared around in his absence now.
Yes, there is. You know, and not only Joe, I suppose. You know, a few of the others departing and a couple of new ones, young kids coming in. You know, there's plenty of winners to be had, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be guaranteed it. I still got to work hard, and I'm going to work even harder this season than any other season because I've kind of got a point to prove that, you know, I'm not dropping by the wayside just yet. I'm here to ride as many winners more as I can. And, you know, like you say, with Joe moving on and, you know, it opens up a lot more opportunities for us going forward. Yeah,
a lot of Joe's winners last season, John, came for John Size, but you had a good relationship with Joe the season before, of course, with Rapid Dragon. Do you think it's going to have much of an impact? There's a lot of good riders still in the weighing room, isn't there?
Well, there is. There's a little bit of glamour will be lost with the exit of Joe to Japan. But as time goes on, you know, the jockeys, the new faces and even the older faces, as Neil just said, will get the opportunity, you know, for some very good rides out there because Zach can't ride them all.
Exactly. And
from that point of view, there'll be some rising stars amongst them and no doubt the public will embrace them and we'll have, hopefully, some more Joe Moreiras on the scene.
Yeah, certainly an opportunity for someone. But speaking of Zach Purton, let's find out his thoughts on defending the title and the season ahead.
I suppose last season everyone thought Joe was going to defend his title easy as well. So nothing is ever what you think it's going to be. It's never as easy as you think. But, you know, I have a lot of support at the moment. I'm riding for a number of trainers. So, you know, that's my target, to come back and try and defend that.
We have seen you riding Country Star and Arrow Happiness in the trials. Is it possible that you and John will work together more often like John and Joe before?
What happens for the rest of the season, I can't tell you. Obviously, I'd like to ride for him if I can because he's our champion trainer. He trains a lot of winners. He's got a strong stable. But I also feel as if I need to be loyal and supportive to the trainers and the owners that have supported me up until now to get me to where I am. So I'll have to try and find a balance if that's the case.
That's it, isn't it, Neil? It is a balancing act, trying to keep everybody happy, I suppose, to a certain extent.
Yeah, look, you know, as jockeys, from our point of view, we've got to do our own job, you know, so, you know, we've got to try and get on the best horses possible or get on as many winners or winning chances as we can. But at the same time, you know, the trainers and the certain owners that have helped us since we've come here to kind of build ourselves up to a certain level of form in Hong Kong, you know, it's a long way. It's a quick way up and it's a long way down. So, yeah. You know, you've got to kind of think of the other side of things as you're on the way up. And look, you know, it's like you say, it is all about a balancing act, but you need to balance it right.
Yeah. Does it take, Zach aside, John, whether you're using him or not, does it take a lot of mental energy on your part to try and line everything up, keep the owners happy, have the right jockey on the right horse when they're available? Does that take up a significant amount of your time?
Oh, it does. Definitely does. You know, a lot of owners have their preferences, And we trainers have got to go back to those owners and just say, well, we'd prefer or we'd like to put that particular jockey on, and we might end up the owner saying no, somebody else please. But it does take up a lot of our time, not only training horses but socialising. As everybody knows, Hong Kong is one place for socialising, not like when Neil rode in England, when he was on the road nearly every day trying to make a living.
No energy to socialise.
Exactly, but with respect to Hong Kong, no, it is very much a part of the racing scene, and to keep the owners happy with the right jockey on board.
Just one more quick question on that, Neil, as well. We did a piece on your fitness routine last season. You talked about your mental approach. Does that change, do you think, for Zach now he is the champion? Is it the case of heavy as the head that wears the crown?
Well, like I play golf with Zach, and we're quite friendly. You know, just for on a social, you know, you have to be friends with some of them. So, you know, but you know, we get on well, and look. The one thing I've noticed about Zach is that he absorbs pressure pretty well. Yeah. So I don't think there'll be any more different approach from his mindset or any pressure on him. I think, like he says himself, the most important thing is that he doesn't go and think he's going to jump on John Size's back and forget about everybody else and just automatically become champion jockey again. You know, he's got to balance it right, and I think that's the most important thing. But I don't think he'll feel any pressure.
Speaking of John Size as well, John, he's got a stable full of stars. He ran away with the title last year. Do you start off the season sort of trying to plan a championship campaign, or are you just looking at the individual horses? You've got Beauty Generation, we touched about him, a former horse of the year as well in Werther, who finished off last season in great form too.
No, great in Japan. I've assembled a really good stable this season. More Class 3, more Class 4s. And some talent that we've already seen with the likes of Styling City and Thanks Forever. They're just two likely stars on the scene. But yeah, I've liked to get the positive approach in the stable and say, come on, fellas, we're getting the right horses together. We'll have in excess of 60 horses, and of course, 15 over odd will be in Zhongfa. But we're going in there, as I said, with positive approach to really giving the, you know, trying to finish in the first three.
Because the Griffins were great last year, so you're confident that they're going to train on, or they have done for the new season?
Definitely. Yeah. You know, there's some others there that go very, very well, but because they came into the country as 2-year-olds, you know, we've got to deal with the shin soreness and just the baby problems that come with 2-year-olds. But they're now moved into Class 4 and Class 3, and I think that's the crux of a premiership. If you can do what John Size does, which he brings in, of course, we know he doesn't run very many 2-year-olds, if any, but he brings in the 3-year-olds that are already well grown, and he can, you know, win 3 or 4 races with them, and that's the difference of winning and losing a premiership. So that's what I've aimed at this season, is bringing in the younger brigade. Okay, they will fill their place in the stable, but the younger brigade that are now 3-year-olds will hopefully fill those the winners necessary to be in the top 3.
All right, we've got a new trainer coming in, Neil, in Jimmy Ting, but with all these potential spare rides for John Size, if you're calling his voicemail, do you get press 1 if you want to ride track work, press 2 if you want to ride in trials? His phone would be running red hot, wouldn't it, for the season ahead?
I think John Size's phone was running red hot at the end of last season when Joe announced that he wasn't going to be here for this season. Look, it's one thing I could say is, like, yes, John Size is champion trainer in Hong Kong, but he's not the only trainer here. No. You know, you got like John Moore, Ricky Yu, you've got numerous other trainers there that we want rides off, and you know, it's just a matter of, if the start of the season is just getting your head down, ride as much track work as you can, and just ring and speak and talk and just hopefully get on a good one and hopefully hit the ground running.
All right, absolutely. All right, still plenty more to look at, including Chung Fa. I'll be looking at the fantastic facilities there with the official opening taking place just a week ago. Plus, we'll also meet the new boy in town. That's Grant van Niekerk, fresh over from South Africa.